All right. I'm going to talk with a little bit more energy here because I was supposed to go after lunch, and then I got slided back a little bit, so I got to re-engage you guys a little bit here. So I am 100%. My business is 100% at home. So obviously, I am very, very biased. I'm a firm believer in the at home. I'm going to talk to you guys about why I believe in at home. I'm going to talk to you about how we deployed a 100% at home solution, the benefits of all that, and hopefully leave a lot of time for Q&A because you guys are clearly, I was sitting in this last session, clearly you guys are a very interactive audience, so we'll try to make as much time for Q&A as possible. So the reason for at home, and I'm going to kind of from a broad base, and I know you guys have been talking about this a lot through the morning, is there's two key macro phenomenons that I always talk about in the call center space. Okay, so the first thing is this. The first thing is 10 years ago or so, everything was about cost. Saving costs, saving costs. So the solution naturally lended us to go overseas, right? We offshored as much as we could to the Philippines, to India, because cost was the number one objective. And then this weird thing happened about 7, 8, 9 years ago, this thing called social media. Facebook changed everything. What I mean by that specifically is 10 years ago, 15 years ago, if you had a complaint, if you were a consumer, you had a complaint, the only place you could complain was an 800 number to the same person who you're pissed off at, who could keep it contained, brush you off to the side, and not address your answer. And what did you have to do? You had nowhere to go. And then all of a sudden, Facebook and Twitter and all these other, YouTube and all these blog sites and the public forums that came out, right, really 5 years ago, changed that whole paradigm. Because what happened after that was that people did have a voice, they did have a channel to articulate their complaints, and they could destroy your company, they could destroy your brand, as long as other people agreed with them. And all it took was a few other people, 50 other people to say, yes, I like your dissatisfied comment. That's all it took. And you have 50 people, and then the phone numbers, the phone calls that they would place to 800 numbers complaining to you were now phone calls to their friends to get them on their side to complain about you. And you never got the phone call. You never got that dial in, so you never had a chance to resolve that issue. So in the last 5 years, social media has completely transformed the space of contact centers. That's a fact. Okay, that's a fact. So what matters more than cost now, I will argue, is quality, is experience. CSAT scores, Net Promoter Scores, all these things are the things that matter. That's phenomenon number one. Quality matters. So we've seen what? We've seen a lot of people come back to the States. Okay? We've seen a lot because they had to. The second phenomenon that we've seen, this macro phenomenon, was, well, it's cost. The reason why everybody, our CFO and our CEO and CEO, everybody told us to leave to begin with was because of cost. Well, it's still a real issue. And now we've got, not only do we got the same angry people, but we got more, and there's tons of them out there. Okay, so we've got to be able to address that so in a cost-effective way, which is the second macro issue, which is the migration to at home. Okay, so the first thing is it's a fact. Call centers have to come back to the States. And the second fact is there is a migration to at home, which is what Richard talked about. Okay, so what we did is, and a little bit about my background, I don't like to talk about, but I've got almost 10 years of experience in the at home model. Before NextRep, I was working at another company, and we had 20,000 at-home, 100%, 20,000 at-home agents. And then 7 months ago, I started the CEO position here at NextRep. The company's been around for 4 years. We'll talk a little bit about what we do and the services that we have. And we've grown from about 300, we'll have 1,000 by the end of the year. Okay, so it's rapidly deployable. It's definitely cost-effective. I definitely believe in that. From a quality standpoint, from a cost standpoint, it's all there, right? So when we talk about what we wanted to do with NextRep is we definitely wanted to build a virtual call center. We provide inbound and outbound services. We have really the best without geographical, right? This is all. The thing about and I've talked to people at lunch, and I was talking and listening to a lot of you guys, it sounds like a lot of people here who are using the at-home model are doing a couple things. You guys already had an infrastructure for call centers. And what you guys ended up doing was you started doing the 20, right? The 20 number pilot test. You're going to take 20 of your best agents. They fit this criteria. They fit that criteria. They've earned the right to go home. And then you send them home. Okay, right? That's pretty much what you guys are, that's what I'm hearing. Okay? So what I'm going to say is when I think about the problems with a brick and mortar US-based facility and the solution that I'm going to present, it doesn't really fit that situation. Because to me, when you talk about scalability, right, you get big clients, and you've got all this explosive growth and all these other things that are going on. The same issues that you have with that kind of hybrid situation are still going to persist. Let me back up. What I mean by that is this. I would argue that the number one problem with call centers that you guys probably face is sourcing the right people. What that means is, and there was a stat that I completely agree with, this is a fact, and the average American worker commutes 20 to 30 miles into work. Okay, it doesn't matter what's the average, right? Your agents probably do the same thing. They drive in 20 to 30 miles away. Okay, so what I'm going to advocate for is a virtual system where you could pick the best talent. If you need 100 agents, the best 100 agents, 2 from California, 3 from Texas, 5 from Ohio, 2 from Atlanta, whatever it might be. That's the solution that I'm going to advocate for, right? Because that's when you're really unleashing an at-home model, okay? The problem with doing this system where you incubate locally and then you deploy and you send them home, right? That's not really going to solve the issue of where do you find the best agents, and then have them work from home, right? That's the issue. So you're still going to have, what are you going to do? You're going to send out a posting, get a bunch of applicants. You can still get so we're going to talk about how to break that. So, so these are, when we talked about our business, those were the things that we're thinking about. Again, the typical challenge of a brick and mortar facility, right? These are all the things, retaining agents, right? The average call center has somewhere between 50 to 100% turnover annually. That's terrible, but it's the reality. We all face it. There's nobody better than the other. I mean, there's a few people from Chase that said that they're down to 25 to 30%, which is awesome, annual attrition. We should talk to them about how they do that. But when you're talking about high attrition, the virtual model is awesome, right? Number one, because our objectives are to recruit better, to retain more of those people, because training costs money for everybody, right? So training costs money for everybody, and we want to be able to keep them. But at the end of the day, it's a balance between the two things that we talked about, which is high quality and low cost, right? So that's the system that we're going to be talking about. And we're going to be talking about some of the best practices that we do this. So the first thing that we talk about when we think about it, and I know everybody has their solutions, is one of the first things that we thought about is we have to have an amazing technology-enabled system. Okay, if you're going to make a commitment to the at-home model, you got to have technology to support that first. The infrastructure has to be in place. So what we've chosen to do is we've chosen to use a cloud-based system, which is why we've partnered with Richard, is because it's pay-as-you-go. You can grow and you can scale. You've got people that are building the chat tools, and we'll talk about the community and how do you actually do some of those things, because that's actually really important, is to talk about how do you create the aisles, how do you create the high fives, how do you create kind of the attaboys? How do you create the hype and the excitement that happens, and how do you simulate and replicate that in a virtual at-home? But finding the right technology-enabled platform that can allow you to do all these different things is obviously really important. We'll talk about that. I know Richard wants to talk a lot about that, and we will get into that a little bit at the end. Okay? So for us, these are some of the things that we do. Our business is, we're an outsourced call center, so we've got about 500 agents today. A lot of what we do are services that run the gamut of everything from sales, inbound sales, outbound sales. We do customer service. Our agents are typically working in anywhere from 3 to 5 different systems at once. One of our big clients is Jawbone, so the guys that make the Jambox and the Bluetooth devices, right? So highly important consumer electronic experience. The people that buy these love Facebook, and they love complaining. They love getting stuff for free if they could, if they yell loud enough, right? So we've got our agents that are working on their system. We've got Zendesk. So they're doing email, they're doing inbound, they're doing outbound. They're on Zendesk. They're on the phone system. They're on different chat systems. They're working on 4 different systems right now because we're finding the best agents from anywhere and everywhere, right? So we started with a small 50 to 60 agent test. That was a small test for us. 50 to 60 agents. We've deployed that. We've doubled that literally within 1 month. Sorry, we were our CSAT scores was 88%. The incumbent solution, a big brick and mortar facility out in Las Vegas, $1 billion company, won't say who they are, was about 78 to 80%. So within 1 month, with our agent, remember it starts with the quality. We're at 88. The second month we're at 90. Okay, so everybody's heard the statement: "You're as good as what you eat." Well, we're in the call center space. We're as good as the agents we find, right? It's the same thing, okay? So we are as good as the agents we find. So we work with Orchard Brands, right? It's a $1 billion catalog company, so we do a lot of acquisition calls for those guys. Ladies Dry Bar. Any of you guys heard of Dry Bar? No? Anybody from LA, New York? Ladies? Okay, so I was hoping to get at least one person, right? So in the back, so the ladies from, I think they work with IPQ. What is Dry Bar? Your hair blown out, yes. What is that? Did you really? There is one here in Denver. So this is I am not their demo, but this company, what they do is, the company's called Dry Bar. It's a high-end beauty salon, right? So clearly not me. I would not go there. But what happens is these women go and they don't get, their mantra is no color, no cutting. All they do is blow dries for $50, right? You go in there and they don't touch, they just wet your hair and they blow dry your hair and it's $50 and these ladies keep going back, right? They keep going back for more. They keep going back for, it's great. So think about this, right? So you think about this experience, right? So they had, it's based in LA. They literally do Maria Shriver, Sarah Palin, right? All these people are going there, and a lot of people are getting there. They've got close to 50 stores now. They've got one here, obviously, in Denver, as someone said. But what we do for those guys is they had an in-house solution, literally in Anaheim, California. Their headquarters is in Irvine. So they had a brick and mortar facility. They're like, there's no way we could ever outsource this. There's no way we could ever have other people work on this. We want to manage our quality. We need to train them. This is our first exposure. This is our first point of contact with our customers. There's no way we could ever allow other people to come in here and tarnish that reputation and that experience. Well, we came in there, and within 6 months, they completely got rid of their in-house completely. We were cheaper. We were shorter on the talk times. We had a better customer experience for those guys, and they moved 100% of that business, and they completely 100% shut down their call center. So those are some of the case studies that we have because of what we've been able to do with finding, right, eating the right, consuming the right food makes who you are, finding the right agents makes who we are as well. So how we did it, we signed a new customer. Then again, the big thing that I talked about is we recruit agents from anywhere and everywhere in the states. We have agents from about 38 states. So again, our geographical limitations are surrounded by the two oceans. That's it. We're not looking at 20 to 30 miles within our facility. We're looking at coast to coast, even some in Alaska. Then what do we do is after that, we work with Five Nines to provision the seats. We set up the campaigns within a pretty easy configuration system that Five Nines has. We add the agents. It's very, very easy to do that. Create skill groups. We could talk a little bit about upload the lists for outbound and create the call flows, IVRs, all these different things are built into the system. It's a phenomenal system that we've been happy with. Agents then log in from home. They place the calls. They get coaching. We'll talk a little bit about all this. The coaching from supervisors. Our supervisors, for the most part, are also all at home as well, right? So we've really gone full virtual, and they're doing all this from home. So our supervisors are coaching and monitoring from home. And this is, I think there was a comment over here about how do you create that environment. We'll get into that, but having the right technology to get reporting, to get access, right, that's critical. So I'm going to speed through and get closer to, because I know you guys have questions, the best practices, okay? I will slow down and stop right here. The thing about the American workforce is this. Here's a few other facts to throw down and write down. This is also a fact, is that 30% of Americans today in the workforce participate in some type of freelance work. Sounds a little bit crazy, but if you think about it, it's really not. Right, people that are doing freelance engineering work, programming, writing, whatever it might be, design work, right? A lot of work. It's really moving towards that. So our agents are actually 100% independent contractors, rather than and we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of that. But they are that. The second thing that's a fact about the American workforce is that nowadays, and you guys can probably raise your hands if you guys agree with the statement, but more than money, the American workforce cares about flexibility. Right? Kids, right? Getting access to them, not having to be in the office until 7 p.m. and your kids are asleep before you get home, right? Being able to work where you want, when you want. Everybody's doing work at home Fridays or a lot of these other things, right? So flexibility is critical. So we're thinking about these things, right? The trend of more and more Americans that are being freelance independent contractors, and the fact that people want flexibility more than everybody wants pay. But more than pay, what creates happiness is either it's kind of artificial flexibility, but it's a perception of flexibility, and that's what we provide for people, okay? So the first thing is hiring the best. Sourcing. Sourcing is the number one most important thing to having a successful virtual at-home environment, right? So when we source, it's really interesting as I was listening to people at lunch and talking to other folks in the hallway, is that, yeah, you can create criteria. Okay, so in a brick and mortar environment, you've shown up and you've been here for 2 years, or you've worked this and you've hit these KPIs and you've consistently proven this attendance. I'm going to argue that the type of person that you're looking for probably wouldn't have ever been in the call center to begin with. They're not, right? Because here's the typical profile of a call center, and I know some of you guys might have variations to this, but you might get somebody who is a transient worker. You might get somebody who maybe got laid off, somebody who is, and we're thinking about how much we're paying them. Let's just be honest, right? We're all paying about the same thing for our agents. So we know the type of person we're looking. Not as educated, right? Transient worker, somebody who probably isn't saying, I want to be a call center agent for a year, for 2, for 3, or for 4, right? So that's the type. For us, we're looking for somebody who's completely not that. We're looking for somebody who is more mature, who is professionally experienced, somebody who has college education, sometimes even a master's degree in what they do. We're looking for CPAs, right? We're looking for stay-at-home moms, people that are in their 30s and 40s. Okay, so we're looking for a little bit more of a responsible, more mature, more professional demographic. Okay, we're looking for somebody who's more educated. And we're looking for somebody, if we do what we say, if we provide the calls and the work opportunity, they will stay. So for us, our stats are, if people last more than the first month, 90% of them stay for over a year. That's a fact, right? That's because as long as we deliver the phone calls and they're making money and they're working, they will do this for years, okay? And that's what we've seen. So they will do. So it's a different mentality. It's a different type of person. So when you guys are doing like, oh, what are the policies and how do I identify the person that would qualify for this pilot 20-person program? It's not the way that I'm thinking at all. I'm thinking about how do I find the person who wouldn't even be in the brick and mortar but would succeed. And of course, if they got previous brick and mortar experience, that's a plus, and we do look for that, sales experience and other things. But we're looking for different things to motivate those people. Okay, so number one is sourcing. We will go, number two, we will go on sites like workathomemom.com. So we're looking for the stay-at-home moms. We're looking for the veterans. We're looking for disabled folks, right? And we're looking for people versus other call centers. We're not looking for people that are part-timers. We're not looking for people that are going to put 5 to 10 or 15 hours. We're looking for people that, again, if we provide this, they will make, I guarantee they will make more money than working at your call center if they're working for me. Okay, so you're like, oh, I like Teddy for about the first half of this. Now I really hate him because he's going to be stealing my agents. So that's the first thing, is number one, sourcing. Okay, the second thing is certification, right? So once we get the funnel in, we automate as much of the sourcing as possible while keeping a human relationship. So what I mean by that is they will go to the sites, they'll click on links, they will go to our landing page, they'll apply. It's really, really easy. But what we do that's different from a lot of virtual at-home call centers is we will actually interview 100% of them. 100% of our agents have to go through certification. They have to talk to people. We have high standards. We do background checks. And they actually pay us to apply. It's crazy. They pay us a fee to actually apply in the system. So that's a pre-qualifier as well, right? One of the good things about that. In sourcing, there's other things that we talk about in sourcing, and I'll get back to that also, is this concept of fan sourcing. I could spend 45 minutes talking about fan sourcing, but the concept of fan sourcing is this, is I will target, if I'm looking for 50 agents, I'm going to target 50 agents across the country that actually are users, consumers, advocates of your product. Where will I find them? At the same place where they yell at you guys, online. I will. So if I'm looking for Jawbone, right, I will find people that have used, consumed, and are advocates publicly of this product. Because those people will be phenomenal salespeople. They'll be phenomenal customer service reps, right? We just need to train them on the systems. So that's sourcing. Certification is the number two thing, is we leverage e-learning, right? There's a reason why the University of Phoenix is as big as they are. And they print money. These guys are printing money. There's reasons why there's companies like greatcourses.com where you could take Harvard-level courses, and these people pay hundreds of dollars a year, right? Because that's where people are moving. If you don't invest into e-learning, if you don't invest into the know-how to do e-learning and to understand that the learner is changing, the student is changing, so the way that we teach them has to change, then you're going to get stuck in it. You're going to get stuck in the past, okay? So committing to e-learning bringing in people that can actually package this. For us, what we do is none of our classes, also it's the same philosophy as you guys, none of our classes, instead of having 30 to 50 people, even in a virtual lab environment, will be more than 18 to 20. Okay, that's actually pretty cool because it's easier to schedule these classes and these certifications. It's easier to conduct them virtually, and we could get them in and out. And we don't have to have them only on Tuesdays from this to that time. We could do them off nights. We could do them weekends because it's virtual. Because it's virtual, right? So certification is number 2. The third thing is coaching and communication. So once they've made the lines, we put everybody through an incubation period. Every agent has a big brother. They've got a big sister. For 2 weeks, they're on probation. We don't wait for 3 out of 6 months or whatever it was to get out. If they don't make it past 2 weeks because they're what? Independent contractors, they're out. They're out. That's why the key thing is to see if they'll make it past a month, because it is hard to make it past a month. And it should be hard to make it past a month. And if they don't make it past a month, I'm not worried about finding the next 50 agents in Houston or Ohio or whatever, Nebraska. I can get 50 from anywhere. So literally for us, we have about 1,000 people that are applying every single week. And we've got classes for about 50. Okay, we've got more quality people so we could cherry pick the best. Okay, and that feeds into coaching. So coaching, development, the stuff that you do, we do it in a virtual environment. But the thing with us is we have less tolerance because we have the leverage of having more agents in queue waiting than you guys do waiting in line to apply in whatever facility you're at, okay? So coaching is critical. Setting clear metrics, KPIs, obviously that's important. We use technology. I mean, the guy who does our workforce management, he came from Cornell. He's an engineer. He's a crazy mathematician. I always say we use the Oakland A's, the Moneyball example. I'm like, well, I want to be Billy Beane, right? So I was the smart guy who hired the Yale guy. So you're my Yale guy, but I'm not the smart guy, right? So we hire a team of really smart analytical people from Ivy Leagues. Literally, it's worth the money. Because what these guys do is they've turned our agents into the Oakland A's. They have. We use mathematics, and we don't use KPI loosely. We use mathematics. What's your trending? Okay, if this person works, and this is crazy, they're virtual at home, right? We know that if people work more than 3 hours in a row, their 4th hour is going to suck. So guess what we do? We force them to take breaks. If they're going to work too many, if somebody's an all-star and they work a certain amount of hours and then their performance dips, we don't let them do that. And it changes by the agent. So leveraging technology and analytics to apply that to KPIs. It's not just hit a 30% conversion, that's not, whatever. Right? Everybody can do that. You don't have to hire a Cornell kid to tell you to hit 35% conversion or your client's going to leave. Right? We're looking at augmenting psychological and performance behavior, applying that to the individual as well as to the group to find out when performance slips, to stop it before it happens, because they're already at home. Go take a break. Go play with your kid. We want you to. Okay? Go help them with their homework and come back in 45 minutes. Right? Those are the things that we see. That we see. What period of break before they're optimized? Those are all the things that we're thinking about. Right? So it's not just KPIs. AHT, average handle time, talk time. You better have that. You better have that, or let's do another conference for that. Okay? So we're not talking about that. We're talking about augmented high-level analytics. Okay? Designing proper incentives. We do a lot of things because we're in a product base, so we get these products all the time. Money is one way to motivate, but we've learned that flexibility is a way to motivate. We've learned that the most important thing for our independent contractors is they fight for what? They fight for not money, they fight for the opportune times to work. So we reward the best agents with the best times to work. What a concept. If everybody wants to work on Monday because that's when the traffic is, only the best agents get to work on Monday. If we have people that are being in the incubation period, in that 1 month, 2 to 1 month period, they'll have to be in that non-Monday set time. We know when agents want to work, right? So, and it's an independent contractor model. If you want to get into the group, because we got 1,000 people behind you that want to be here, you're going to have to work on certain days to get your hours. But if you prove yourself, then you will work your way in. The second way to motivate is we give them products instead of money. Because something like this costs Jawbone, they sell it for $130. They make it for like 2.9 cents, right? They sell it to us they give it to us oftentimes for pretty close to nothing, right? But our agents love this. Why is this important? Because this is what they're going to be selling, servicing, and it's the perceived value of $130 that we got for more than half off. Okay, so would I rather give you $130, or would I rather give you a product that you think is worth $130 that will help you do your job better? Right? So there's a lot of different things that we're thinking about the psychology of the actual user, knowing who we found, right? Because these are people that are working from home, they're more sophisticated, right? So those are the things that we're thinking about. Recording 100% of the calls, security compliance, we have a whole team that's constantly doing QA. It's the same thing, right? You guys are walking up and down the streets, we're just hopping from line to line to line. It's the same thing, right? The things that you guys are used to can be deployed in a virtual environment, right? We constantly, and then we use obviously KPIs to trigger, so we're very mathematically based, right? So we use, if you fall below, if you didn't sell something but you took 30 minutes, it's flagging in our system, okay? If you made a sale and it took you 2 minutes, that's impossible. We're also going after you too, right? But I got the conversion, I got the high OV. You did something wrong. You lied to somebody, okay? If you sold something in 2 minutes and you collected a credit card, right? So we're looking constantly at all these different things. So we're recording the calls, ensuring compliance, all these different things. Choosing the platform provider, we've talked about that, right? So call routing, the ACD, IM, whispering, barge in, takeover, screen capture, all these different things are things that I would highly recommend you guys not build yourself. Go find some of the options out there that have already done this, right? So that's what we want to focus on, the agent business. Our product is the people. We're not in the business of building technology. There's a lot of people that are better. I would rather use my Cornell person and do Billy Bean's mathematics than building stuff, okay? So that's kind of been our philosophy because it allows us to rapidly deploy faster and scale. Management principles, yep. We talked about all this fun stuff. Okay, so any questions? And then I know Rich has some stuff to talk about on the social, but any questions? I was expecting like hands going back and forth. Go for it. I don't need breaths, man. Let's go. I don't get in front of people often. Can you tell? Usually I'm in my, no, I'm not. But go for it. Question down the middle. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that's totally, completely a fiction. It's a myth. We do things like social hours where we have our agents come on and they want to be there. They do come on. We use Skype like crazy, so people are literally doing things. Creating a community and a platform is critical. So doing things like chat. Here's the thing, guys. The reality is most of the agents that will be our agents in the next 5 to 10 to 15 years will not look like us. They're going to be the kids that are playing video games today. They're spending the average power user of Facebook is spending like 15 to 25 hours a week, right, on Facebook. That's a fact. People are used to exchanging ideas and communicating in a social environment. So what we do is we create a lot of chat groups where agents in specific targeted call types or sectors of our business are interacting live with chat. We have Facebook pages that have been created just for these groups because this is their language, not our language. This is their language. We're posting things. We do a lot of things where we do things like for Halloween, costume contests between the executives and they have to vote and it's interactive, right? We're doing everything that you guys do except the biggest thing is when I fire an agent, I don't have to worry about running to my car. What a cool concept. How many times have you guys let go of 30 agents and you're like, you knew that was going to happen that morning and you parked far and your buddy drove you into work? Come on, that's the truth. The HR things I don't worry about. They know what I look like, but they don't know where I live. They don't know where I work. They don't know what I drive, right? It's a fact, right? It's a lot easier to do those things. And how many times, this is I know you guys do this because I talk to people. How many of you guys give second and third and fourth and fifth strikes to people but when they leave, they're going to cause such a hoopla, and we're just going to keep them and try to rehabilitate them? Right? We don't have to worry about that, right? So in terms of culture, I think we've strengthened the culture because the culture is if you are here and you make it past a month, you got a spot. But guess what? It is meritocracy. If you don't make those KPIs and you don't hit your numbers, you're out. but we're going to make it fun because we'll give you free things, we'll do social hours, we'll give you free contests, we promote, we do the public attaboys. Richard just sold 50 things of that, everybody give him a round of applause. We've got a button that we push and there's like this fake round of applause thing that goes around. We've got marquees, we've got bulletins, we've got a message of the day, so people log in, they're seeing all the, it's like walking into a building and you see, guys, let's sell this, right? It's all the same stuff that's going on. Go for it. We'll go 1, 2. 1 first and then 2. Yep. No, heck no. Oh yeah, and they write that off. So we help our agents, right? So there's a lot of benefits. I think you were talking about the monetary benefits. There's a lot of benefits, right? Your internet, your equipment, all these things can be written off, and we help them as long as they fit certain technology requirements, internet speed, and other different things. Yeah. We sell them. Yeah, pass through. Pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much a pass through a little bit. Costs us some admin. No, absolutely. Question up there. Well, thank you. Okay. What are the 3 or 4 metrics that say that again? Yeah. Okay, so the first thing is this. The first thing is commit, right? So committing and when you work. So it's the same thing that you guys are doing, right? So that is an indicator. So if they say if they're committed to working the hours, we make sure that they're actually working, right? So that they're working when they're supposed to be doing. The second thing that we're doing is because our agents work in 30-minute blocks. They're literally working. They're not working in 3 or 4 hour blocks, 6 hour, 7 hour blocks. They're looking in 30-minute blocks. So the second thing that we're doing on the back end is we're looking at productivity per block, and we're looking at trends. So that's some of the things that we're extracting to determine when in that hump, right? So I would say that's number 2. And then the third thing is our client-driven KPIs, right? So if they're conversions, talk times, those different things. Yeah. So about 40% of our business is outbound. The majority, and obviously 60% is inbound. We probably do about 30% of our business as customer service for retailers, so kind of the Jawbone, the Dry Bar. We do a lot of stuff with retailers, so people that sell into the Walmarts. So we do blenders, we do cosmetic products, we do nutraceuticals. We do stuff for legal services. We do programs like Integrative Nutrition. Anybody from New York? So the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, they sell like $10,000 health fitness programs. So we actually do a lot of lead qualification and acquisition for that. It really doesn't matter for us because what we do for clients, and we do work in the financial and insurance space, and we do a lot of work with catalog companies. We do direct mail. So we do a little bit of everything because we're building dedicated teams for our clients. And we'll source brand new. Like, we're not going to move agents from here to there. For our clients, we will source a dedicated team of people for whoever our clients are. So it really doesn't matter. Yep. Never. It hasn't really happened. I mean, I would encourage all of you guys to go look at NetRep, at workathomemom.com, all the blogs. We have phenomenal reviews. And the things that make, and now I'm going to get into the warm fuzzy. I love it when agents are literally like, I've got to take care of my husband because he got into a car accident, and you have changed my life and his life. You have freed me. You have allowed me to do things. We have people that are vets that have come home and can't find a job, which is the saddest thing in America, right? They defend our country. They come, now I'm getting, sorry. But and they come on, and it's a way for them to re-engage, make money, feel confident about their ability to make a living, a good living, have skill sets, and do well, and then have the flexibility to go take 2 hours to go do the rehab. That's pretty powerful stuff, because when people that are these agents feel indebted to you because you provided a work opportunity that allowed them to have confidence again, they will work harder for you. That's true. That's true. We give people more ways to feel good about what they're doing because of the flexibility thing that we talked about earlier. And then they know that they owe us. They're not that they owe us something, nobody owes anybody anything. But they will work harder to keep that. But they also know there's 1,000 people behind them, so they'll work hard, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I
Yeah, we don't see, you know, a lot of it is staying proactive and reaching out to agents, but we, you know, all over our Facebook, all over the blogs, like the work at home blogs and sites, of course there's always a few, you know, they didn't pay me enough. Well, you didn't work. You didn't show, so whatever, you know, it's the same, you get that, but I'm very proud of our reviews that we get from agents. 1, 2? Oh, unions, what's a union? What? I love that, man. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. You want me to buy you a drink after? You need a drink? A couple? Any union guys? Yeah, no. Yeah, for sure. Number 2, go for it. Okay, so the same principles as brick and mortar, meaning agent quality, performance management, doing the attaboys, the high fives, public recognition, setting goals for the week, doing leaderboarding. We do President's Club just like you guys do, right? So if you make it to the President's Club, you could spend a day with Teddy in Maine. Like, not that they want that, I'm kidding. But, you know, we do all the same thing, the President's Club, the leaderboarding, you know, all these different things, you know, giving out free things. The MVP agent, if an agent they move from being an agent to being a supervisor, we publicize that. Look at Becky. She started, in 3 months she became a supervisor. You can do it too. We want everybody to know that stuff. So it's the same stuff. We have our Wall of Fame, right? Our Hall of Fame, Wall of Fame, all that stuff. It all, so those are the similar things. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man. Absolutely. It's easier, guys. It's easier. You're scared. I know you're scared because I talk to people. You're scared that it's going to be harder on your supervisors and quality and this. It is easier for supervisors. I guarantee you it is easier for your supervisors to not have to deal with who's dating who's taking that you know, twice as long smoke break, and then who's the bad influence, right? Seriously, guys. You know, I don't deal with that stuff. It is easier because the Billy Bean thing, our supervisors focus on math, who's showing up, their performance. Okay, they've fallen out of favor, they're not good. We, you know, give them the chance to make up for it, and we move them out. It is easier, but then we focus. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. A lot of us have siblings. Most of us have siblings, right? I don't care what people say. People have favorites. Parents have favorites, and I was not the favorite. Okay, I had an older brother. Okay, I had an older brother, and he was a favorite. My parents spent at least, it's not 50-50, there's 2 of us. They did not spend 50% of the time parenting me and 50% of the time parenting my brother. They spent 80% of the time parenting me because I was a trouble kid. That's a fact. What if your supervisors can spend more of their time actually working on the agents that are doing well instead of all the time that they're spending working on the agents that aren't? Whoa. Wow, what a concept. Right? So yeah, in some way, this is a misleading bullet point because it's the same, but it's very drastically different. But those are the things that, I mean, imagine if you could unleash your supervisors. How many more supervisors would you keep if they didn't have to deal with those issues that drive them out of the industry? Right? So there's a lot of cool things going on with the virtual. Richard has some stuff on social that I know he wanted to get into, and let's keep going with the questions while you go for it. Yeah, the roadblocks are with independent contractors. You cannot force them when to work, right? You really can't. So you can't say you have to work from 8 to 9 and then you have to take a break from 9:30 and come back at 10. So you can't do those types of things. That's why we schedule in blocks of 30. So that's one of the things. The thing also with the at-home community is that I think it was a little bit of what the question was up there, which is if you do run a bad operations, your agent community will get infected and the cancer will spread really, really fast, right? So you've got to protect that and stay in front of that. And then there's a lot more kind of, well, this person said I could do this and didn't do that, and you got to really manage tightly what's said in the communications in those chat rooms. So we allow for people to have open chat rooms because we don't want to filter that. But the rule is you can say anything you want in that chat as long as it's authentic and sincere. But then if they start like blasting us and doing bad things, then we've got to move them out, right? So we do create kind of that water cooler talk. And then, yeah, sometimes agents get taken out of control, especially if, they haven't been working and this and that and that. But yeah, I would say those are the IC model. There's a lot of the pros, and there's some of those cons with not being able to force them. Okay. Other questions? Yeah. Yeah. It's scary. The worst thing is is the agents in our system we can eavesdrop, and we have flags to look for patterns that would help us eavesdrop. The supervisors and QA folks aren't equally, if I know that Mary Beth is good, I'm probably not going to spend as much time listening to her. But if I got people that are in that 2-week to 4-week incubation period, they will be. And it's scary when the voice of God says, takes over the phone call. So it keeps, and then those stories get out there. So I think, number one is we got to make sure that the agents go through a lot of training, or excuse me, the supervisors go through a lot of training on how to detect things. We create a lot of live dashboards for the supervisors, so they're not literally walking and fishing for that problem agent. They could just, using dashboards, they can easily target behaviors of those, and then they just eavesdrop in. They could either, usually, you don't want to eavesdrop and take over a call. That doesn't happen very often, but definitely, surely, as soon as the call is complete, when they're in the post-call, then we go in there and, hey, by the way, Mary Beth, you should have done this, you should have done this. It was good that you did that, right? And I think the powerful thing about this is, in Vegas, why do people never, ever try to do something in Vegas? They have those black balls everywhere. You're scared. You don't know where the eyes in the skies are they, and you don't know, but if you do something, you will get caught in Vegas, right? It's a concept of eyes in the skies. Now, we're not trying to make people paranoid, but that's a fact, that we have eyes in the skies everywhere, and you never know. Every agent will get invaded at some point. They will have the wrist slapped a little bit, and they don't know if it's tomorrow or the next day, but everybody knows that we're listening. So I think that invisible presence, Big Brother, is a little bit more than the, okay, I see, Sally over there, she's coming. Oh, so, yeah, great customers, blah, 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 and they just have that awesome call, and they walk back, and they're like, so, agent, yeah, are you going to buy or not? Come on, and so who knows what goes on. So I think having the invisible eye in the sky is more effective psychologically with the people that we're hiring and sourcing. Yeah. Okay. So we just built our own really cool scheduling system. So we match that to what the agents, what the client wants. So if our client said, literally our clients will say, we want, 1,000 hours, whatever FTEs, whatever it might be, and this is when we want it, right? Which a lot of you guys wouldn't want to sign up for, right? You guys wouldn't want to, because you have your agents there and you're committed to the 6 or 8 hour shifts or whatever. So we could do a little bit more of that. What we do is we have a surplus strategy. We always have more agents than we need. So what we do is round 1 agents on Thursdays or Wednesdays or Thursdays, they go in, they literally click on all the 30 minutes then the next round of agents go in there and they click what's next. And then we add up and we go 5, it's literally, why do you guys, I haven't reinvented anything with the psychology. It's the same reason why when you guys go onto Hotwire and it goes 1 hotel left, what do? You call your wife and you're like, we need to get this deal because there's 1 left. Guys, this is the psychology that we've learned from other smarter people than me, right? When you do, there's 5 blocks left, right? Agents will then hurry and fill those because it's Monday and they know the calls will come, right? So there's all these things that we're doing to build in. So we fill up those hot seats for sure. And then we have more agents that will log into the system, though they're not committed or but they're just waiting to pick up the scraps because they know the days that are full. We will hit our client KPIs and SLAs because we have a surplus strategy. Guess what? Because there's 1,000 people behind. Other questions? All right. Everybody sold on At Home and how great it is now? Yeah, At Home. IQPC, more conferences. Let's do it. More conferences, more people. All right, Richard, you got some things that I think we wanted to share with
thanks,
social?
Jay. Appreciate it. It's a great presentation. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thanks.
See if I can find the clicker. Okay, so we talked a lot about the trend moving toward at-home agents. So we're seeing another trend, a major trend in the industry, and that's a trend that's moving toward using cloud-based software platforms to deliver these kind of services. So this is a report done by Donna Fluss over at DMG Consulting, one of the lead analysts in the industry. And she's predicting and showing about 40% growth in terms of the number of seats that are moving to cloud-based contact centers. And I'll talk a little bit more about this as I get further in the presentation, but a lot of what Teddy described, this ability to have 100% agents at home that can connect with nothing but a headset and a computer, I mean, that's done through voice over IP and IP technology, and it's deployed extremely well in the cloud. So Donna predicts that by 2015, over 18% of seats will actually be in the cloud. I think by 2011, it was about 6 or 7%. So we're seeing a dramatic shift over into cloud services, and that parallels what we're seeing in our business as well. So why are folks making that change to the cloud? Let me just see a show of hands. How many people are using on-premise software platforms right now? Okay, and how many of you are using cloud solutions? Okay, a few. Okay, so some of the reasons that people are making that move, I mean, of course, there's no hardware, there's no software, there's nothing that you have to manage. You don't have to deal with upgrading software. Many organizations, especially smaller or mid-sized organizations, don't have very big IT departments that can go out and say, oh, they just end-of-lifed one of these pieces of equipment. Now I've got to upgrade stuff. Or I've got multiple facilities. How do I keep all of those things working together? How do I do geo-redundancy? How do I back things up into multiple data centers? So all of that infrastructure, all of that management and everything is handled for you by your cloud provider. There's also this idea of operational and financial flexibility. So with a solution like ours, you can scale up and down whenever you want. And this is great for folks like Teddy because he can go out and find a client and he can say, oh, I'm going to need 10 new agents or 50 new agents, right? He places a call to us and we provision those seats within a matter of hours and he's up and running. And he can pay for those agent seats as long as he needs them and then just turn them off. When you go into an on-premise system, usually it's a perpetual license system. You have to go out and in advance buy all of this hardware and software and equipment. You've got to plan for peak capacity, right? You've got to buy all of the infrastructure you need for whatever period in the year you think you're going to have peak demand and the highest number of calls and interactions. And you take all of the risk up ahead of time because you have to make all the financial investment up ahead of time. So one of the reasons that folks are looking at solutions like ours is because of that operational and financial flexibility. And you saw in one of the earlier slides, I think Teddy has about 450 agents, but only about 130 licenses. That's because we use a concurrent license model. It's just, if you have 130 agents on at one period of time, that's the number of licenses that you need. So this is just a diagram that shows you a little bit about our solution. We have a virtual contact center. So we support outbound. As Teddy mentioned, a large portion of our customers' business are outbound dialers, marketing, sales, having agents on the phones who are selling and upselling and cross-selling. So we have predictive power, progressive, and preview dialers, so all kinds of different dialer technologies. The predictive dialer technology overdials, so it's trying to call more people than you have agents, so that someone, as soon as an agent becomes available, that call can be transferred to an agent. The other technologies, for instance, preview dialing, you can have an agent preview a record before a dial is made. We also have inbound functionality, so all the ACD, IVR, CTI screen pop, so we can route calls to agents. We have a visual design flow where you can design the flow of call. Press 1 to go to marketing, press 2 to go to sales. We also have speech recognition, so you can have people speak their desires on the phone. And then the next level here, all of these interfaces, this is what enables folks like Teddy to actually have an at-home agent program. There's an agent desktop. They just log in. They're working through their web browser. So the application is a web-based thing. There's no application or software you have to download. They plug in their headset. They're on their computer, and they're good to go. They're taking calls. The supervisor interface is the same thing. Teddy mentioned a lot of his supervisors were agents. They're also working at home. And through their interface, they're able to listen in. They can barge in. They can whisper to agents. They can chat with agents. They can broadcast messages. So all that's happening through their web browser interface. Of course, there's an administrator interface, which Teddy showed briefly, where you upload call lists and you create the flow of calls. You create all of your different campaigns. All that's web-based as well. And then we have all of the reporting. We have 100 standard different reports. You can do custom reports, so all those KPIs and everything that you're trying to monitor are available as well. And then down here on the next level, we have out-of-the-box integrations with NetSuite, with Salesforce.com, with Oracle right now, so leading CRM systems. I showed you NetSuite is one of our customers as well. One of the reasons they chose this is because they could integrate with their homegrown CRM system. So you can either use the 5.9 desktop on its own, or you can work just in Salesforce or just in Oracle right now and have complete integration with all the customer records. And we've got a full set of APIs, so cloud-based APIs so that you can integrate with other systems. And then we host the NICE workforce management solutions. So we have a multi-tenant cloud-based version of all the workforce management tools. So you can do call recording, 100% call recording, workforce management, quality management, all those features that are in the NICE product suite. And then down here on the network connectivity, we have SIP connectivity. We use major carriers like Verizon and AT&T. If one of those goes down, we can switch to the other carrier. And then all of the infrastructure in terms of having multiple data centers. If one goes down, we have redundancy within the other data centers. That's just a little bit about our solution. So we just announced, I think about 2 weeks ago, that we acquired a company called SocoCare. And SocoCare is one of the leaders in terms of social engagement. And what they're doing is bringing social engagement to the contact center, social and mobile engagement. So how many of you guys know who this is? One. Who's that? That's right. You got it. This was a guy, somebody watched the baggage handlers tossing all the baggage around. His $3,500 guitar was destroyed. He spent a year, trying to deal with United Airlines to get them to reimburse him for the guitar that was broken. And when he became dissatisfied, what did he do? He turned to YouTube, right? He's the guy that made all the really funny songs criticizing United Airlines, and of course they went viral on YouTube. And United had this huge, PR disaster and kind of damage to their brand and embarrassment. And eventually they ended up, I don't know if they paid for his guitar. I think the solution that he asked for was them to donate something to charity. But the point with social here is that your customers, as you know, are increasingly moving over into social channels. As Teddy kind of described in his presentation, especially with the younger demographic, more folks are turning to social to ask for support, to air their grievances online. So it's really important. More and more of our customers are asking for a way to actually handle that and handle it within the contact center. So some of the challenges that have been out there with social so far is that most of the solutions were not designed for the contact center. They were designed for the marketing department, for folks to go out and try to do Hootsuite kind of stuff. How do I send out a lot of tweets, and how do I find my influencers and get them to market for me? SocoCare was designed specifically to be in the call center, and the founders were at Telephony at Work. So they have about 20 years of background each in terms of the call center space and providing solutions here. So they track real KPIs. All the interfaces track real KPIs. One of the other issues is that the social perspective, the ability to listen to things has been very limited. And many organizations tend to look at their own Facebook or Twitter pages. They don't look beyond that. And SocoCare looks at Twitter and Facebook and blogs and YouTube and all kinds of different sources and uses one queue to bring in all of that information and route it to an agent. They also integrate with Zimbra. Is anybody familiar with Zimbra? They were formerly known as Telligent, and they're a P2P community provider. So many customers are building P2P support communities as part of their website. So their customers will come in and they'll actually answer questions from other customers. They originated from discussion forums and then turned into kind of Q&A applications. So part of the goal around that is case deflection as well, because if your customers can support each other, the call never goes to an agent. But they integrate with Zimbra as well. So if one of your community members doesn't answer a question within a certain period of time, it can be routed to an agent. So all of those things come into the agent queue. And then the other aspect, and the reason that a lot of these solutions haven't been adopted rapidly so far is folks are worried about agent productivity. It's like, God, there's this fire hose of stuff out there. There's all these tweets and everything. How do I make sense of it? And how do I know which ones I should respond to and which ones require me to respond? So what SocialCare brought to us is an NLP engine, natural language processing engine, that uses artificial intelligence to basically go out and listen, screen out all the spam, screen out the things that we believe don't require a response, and then cluster things into categories in terms of topics, and then enable you to route those to agents. So the way that it works, so this is the NLP engine. It's eliminating all the spam. You set up different profiles in terms of what you want to listen to out on the social sphere. It then looks at it and it says, okay, what's the sentiment of it? What are the trending topics? It tags it. It puts it in different kind of clusters. And then it has a set of business rules that allow you to act on it. So some of these things you may just want to auto disposition and say, it doesn't require a response. Some of these things you want to look at sentiment and say, hey, we want to find all the folks that have really negative sentiment on us, and we want to route those and prioritize those to agents first. So those are then routed to agents. They're able to interact and reply. And then all of the analytics are provided. So all of the typical contact center kind of SLA and KPI analytics are provided as well. Yeah.
So this would replace the normal interaction from, say, a contact agent that would respond individually on Twitter instead of...
Yeah, that's right.
So this is kind of like...
Well, I mean, it's hard to really compare it to Hootsuite. I mean, I guess it's Hootsuite on steroids, because Hootsuite doesn't do these things. It doesn't eliminate... It doesn't do all of the elimination of the spam. It doesn't cluster it in terms of topics for you. I don't think it has the business rules to route things appropriately to agents. It doesn't have analytics that are associated with normal KPIs that are in a contact center. So what we loved about this solution, and why we thought that it was really leapfrogging all the other products that were out in the market, and why it was such a great marriage for Five9, was that this was designed specifically to run in the contact center, specifically for social customer care, as opposed to Hootsuite and some of those, which I think tended to be more designed for marketing. Yeah. So that's the way that it works. The other part of SocialCare is a mobile solution. So within mobile apps, folks can tell you their sentiment, their NPS score, send messages back and forth. They can ask for intelligent callback, and they can chat. So that's the other portion. It's both social and mobile customer care that we've now brought to the contact center. And so what that does for Five9, I showed you the first diagram that showed you the complete solution. We kind of are a matchmaker between all these different channels. I mean, we have people calling in to get service or doing outbound calling. We have email and chat, and now we have social and mobile, so the full multi-channel story. And then in the middle, as I said, we've got all of the inbound and outbound technology integrations into other applications, and then we connect to agents and experts and other folks on this side. So we play kind of a platform and intermediary role here. So just to wrap up in terms of what I was going to present with you, the Five9 solution, we really believe it delivers these three kind of key benefits. Gives you more productive agents, and part of that productivity, and the reason we were excited to come here today with At Home, more models to deploy and support those agents. In terms of the dialer technology, we make more live connections to agents that make them more productive. Improve customer satisfaction. So at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about what's your CSAT score, and what's your Net Promoter Score, and how is the customer getting routed to the right agent? Are they getting their question answered quickly and accurately? If there are mistakes, is there a way to do quality control? All of those kinds of things are integrated into our platform. And then the agility part, again, that's really a benefit of the cloud and a SaaS model, with being able to give people complete flexibility to be able to add agents, add capacity, reduce capacity, and all of that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much what I had for you today. A version of this presentation is up here at this URL. It's actually a Prezi version. I encourage you to go take a look at it. I think it's pretty cool. And share it with your friends. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming.